Hello guys, this is Cesar Creates and welcome back to my channel! Today we are back in the Elm Hill City Zoo where we are building an insect house. Insect house is something that I wanted to build for our Elm Hill City Zoo from the very beginning. And now while the Africa pack has finally been released, and we got another insect, I mean the Scarab Beetle, I thought that it is a perfect time to add the insect house to our zoo. The funny thing is that I told you guys that in the second season of the Elm Hill City Zoo we'll focus more on bigger animals, and here we are building an insect house for, insects and spiders, so not exactly too large animals, but the addition of the Scarab Beetle just, convinced me that I want to build it now and add to it this wonderful new creature. Because basically in last two DLCs, I mean the Southeast Asia Animal Pack and the last African pack, we got two insects, the giant Malaysian leaf insect and the Scarab Beetle. So I don't think that in the new pack that will be hopefully released soon, there will be another insect. I think that now we'll get some reptile, because how many insects can you have? I mean, there are still some iconic ones missing, like butterflies, ants and so on, but I simply don't think that they'll be adding another insect to the game very soon. As I told you guys in my previous videos, while this video is uploaded to YouTube, I am on my vacation, so this video is pre-recorded. I left just on the day when the Africa pack was released, so I didn't have a chance to play any of it, which is very sad, and I cannot wait till I'll be back so I can enjoy it. I hope you guys are enjoying your Africa packs. The animals look amazing, so I cannot wait to play it. I also really like the pieces in this pack, I mean building pieces, really grow on me. So I think that we'll be using a lot of them in our parks, especially that I heard that the chain link pieces are added, so this is really helpful and we will be using them a lot for sure. So yeah, obviously I wasn't able to download the new DLC before I left, so I didn't have the Scarab Beetle and the new pieces while I was building this whole building. So don't be surprised if you see an empty exhibit, in the cinematic shots at the end of this video. This exhibit is just waiting for our Scarab Beetle so that I can download the DLC as soon as I'll be back, and I will add it here. So yeah, just a little disclaimer, while one of the exhibits will be empty, this is just because I don't have this little guy yet, but I will have him in the near future, and I will for sure add him to this empty space so he would have a lovely home for himself. Now I'd like to take a moment to welcome all the new faces to the channel. There are over 100 of you more since we last hit the 1000 subscriber milestone, so thank you guys so much. It's really so nice to have you here. I'm so glad that you enjoy my videos, and I'm super grateful for all the kind words and all the comments. You are simply the best. And in case you are watching this video and you are not subscribed, definitely consider to do so. It really would mean a lot to me and would help this channel to grow. And if you are a new subscriber, thank you so much. It's really nice to have you here. Let's talk about our building that we are creating today. So as I told you guys at the beginning of our project, I mean the Elm Hill City Zoo, I described the zoo as an older European zoo that is very popular and has a lot of funds, to build new and modern enclosures and buildings, to renovate and develop the buildings that have been here for some time, but still some of the parts of the zoo are older and kept in this traditional European style. Those are the remains of the, first buildings that were built for the zoo, or just some buildings that were here when the zoo was, founded, and they bought, for example, this land, and there was some buildings, old buildings in here, and they decided to leave them and adapt them to their needs. We were focusing more on this, modern style lately, the new parts of the zoo, the renovated parts, the habitats that were recently built. And we somehow neglected this, older part of our zoo. But hey, we are back today, as you can see. I'm not gonna lie, I feel much more confident while building in this modern style. We had our modern education center, we had our penguin house, we had our small mammal house, we had, for example, a binturong shelter with a whole habitat, which were very, very modern and kept in this, style that is very up to date. But today we are coming back to our old style, just as we built the restaurant, the food hall, also the staff building, the director management building, and now we are building an insect house. So my thought behind this insect house is that there was just a very old mansion that was built many, many years ago. Maybe it wasn't the part of the zoo at the beginning, maybe someone was living here or something, but the zoo acquired the area, the land in here, and the mansion stayed in there. So the zoo adapted it to its needs, like renovated it slightly, and that's how they came up with an insect house to be included in this mansion. So this is something that we are coming for today, and I hope you guys are able to understand what I'm talking about and what I mean. This is just a fun idea I had in my head. I also really wanted to use the limestone pieces that we have in game because I never use them. I am super not familiar to them, so I thought this opportunity will be very, very handy to be a little introduced to them. And let me just say that they are amazing, and I don't know how I could miss them before. As I told you, I normally prefer the modern style, both in the game but also in my everyday life, so that's why I am probably building more in this modern style. But sometimes I just like to challenge myself, and also I came up with the concept of the zoo and I plan to stick to it. So yeah, that's why we are building something like this today. It is looking like a mansion, maybe an old university or a library. There are a lot of buildings looking like this that have some educational purpose. So yeah, this is very typical for buildings like this, for example in Paris or in London, and this is what basically I was inspired by. Obviously I was looking for some inspiration online, and I found this very, very nice limestone chateau. I will put the link down in the description so you guys can know what I was inspired by and what I was trying to recreate a bit in here. This mansion there is it has those additional wings on sides, but I decided not to build them because this building is already fairly large, and I often have problems with huge buildings in this game because I don't think that they're realistic, and we are trying to build something like a zoo that you are visiting on your weekends, your local zoo, or something that is very, very realistic, something that you just see in normal life. So building those huge buildings doesn't really correspond to me that much, but it is still quite large. I made many measurements before I started to build it, because the thing was that I had to fit in here 12 exhibits, because right now with the Scarab Beetle we have 12 insects, scorpions, and spiders that can be added to those exhibits. So yeah, I had to feed somehow 12 of them in here. They are very large, so including 12 in a building that is supposed to look like a house or a mansion was a struggle, let me just say. So let's just think about it as a, very, very large mansion of someone who was very, very rich person. As you can see, I'm using a lot of those decorative trims, limestone trims. I am using those columns. This building has a lot of those ornaments and those things that are just for decoration, I think. So I wanted to go for something like this as well. So I am using a lot of them in here because I wanted this building to be very, very effective. At the beginning of this video, I focused a lot on the windows. We have like those in-game classic windows, but they're not like see-through. They are just, a modular piece that you add to the wall and you cannot see through them. They don't have this glass piece in there. So I wanted to obviously have some natural light inside because as you know me, as I am always adding a lot of plants inside of the buildings because that's the only place in this zoo that we can go a bit crazier with tropical plants because I'm not adding, plants that won't grow in the temperate biome to the habitats. I am just introducing them in the interior. So I obviously wanted to add some in this building, so I knew that I wanted to have some natural lights in there, and that is why I decided to make my own windows, those very, very classic windows with those white frames. So yeah, those windows had a lot of small details and were much work. This whole building in general was quite, challenging and time consuming to build because I didn't know those pieces too well. I also wanted it to look simply good, so I was trying my best. In this video you will see only the work on the front part of the building. I didn't include working on other sides or other walls because it was basically the same thing but repeated to the other walls, and obviously I didn't want to make this video too long for you guys, so you will only see the part when I am working on the front part. The front part is most detailed, so you are not missing anything important. Insect houses or bug houses or insect zoos, they have many names. They are not like super popular in the zoos. Sometimes they are like separate facilities that you can go and visit, but some zoos have them. And with the amount of insects that we have in game, I decided that it will be a perfect addition. There is one in London Zoo, there is one in San Diego Zoo, they have it in Houston Zoo. So yeah, there are some of those. Sometimes also the bugs and insects are included in some other parts of the zoos, like bigger parts like reptile houses, entrances near some shelters of animals. So they are still present in the zoos, but they don't have like this dedicated space or dedicated house as we are building it today. Those kinds of facilities in other zoos, they really helped me with the name for this building because I was so not convinced to the name Insect House just because, we have a lot of spiders and scorpions and those are not insects, as well as the giant centipede. It is also not an insect. But in other zoos, those are also like located in bug houses or insect houses, even though they are called insect houses. Sometimes we have like those moving exhibitions of insects and around, different cities. And those are also, called insect exhibitions or something. And there are spiders. So yeah, I think that it is a common thing to call those places insect something, but they're not only insects in there. So yeah, in the end I decided to go with the name Insect House. I really like it. Just so you guys know that I obviously know that some of those animals are not insects. I am fully aware. But we are calling this building the same as some other zoo do. So the real life zoos, obviously. So I think that they know what they are doing. And just in case, if you don't know why the spiders, the scorpions, and the giant centipedes are not insects, it is because they belong to totally different, families of the invertebrates. The easiest and fastest way of knowing if you are dealing with an insect is just counting its legs. The insects always have 6 legs. Some of them also have wings, but we don't count, wings as legs. So yeah, all the insects have 6 legs. Spiders and scorpions both belong to the arachnid family, and also the easiest way to distinguish it is that they have 8 legs. So the insects have 6 legs, the spiders and scorpions, they have 8. The only thing with scorpions is that one of those legs are transformed into claws, which they use to hunt their prey and to protect themselves. They also have this tail with this venomous, end that they point to kill their prey or, also to protect themselves. But they both belong to the same family. And then we have the giant centipede, which belongs to the scolopendrids family. Those are those very long, invertebrates with a lot of legs. So many that it's hard to count. So yeah, as you can see, we don't only have insects in this house. We also have different kinds of small and interesting animals in here. Obviously, the new Scarab Beetle is an insect. The Malayan giant leaf insect is also an insect, as the name says. So we still have a lot of those insects in here. We have this Titan beetle, for example. We have this giant burrowing cockroach, and so on. They're all insects. So I still hope that the name of this building is right. This is actually the first time that we are building anything with the exhibit animals on my YouTube channel. We never had them anywhere in here. So this is something totally new for me. I never talked about them, but I think that their addition to the game is so cool. They're like such an easy addition to, your houses, your buildings. You can like fit them anywhere as a form of decoration, or just build the entire building just committed to them. We can add a lot of those reptiles to your reptile houses, and they always look very, very cool. They are also very, very nice way of earning money in franchise modes, because they are quite popular with the guests. Also, they breed very, very easily, so you can sell them and make additional money. And they are not very expensive to care for, so this is like perfect for our franchise modes. So whenever you are struggling, I recommend to add some of the exhibits to the franchise mode while you are playing it. But there are also some downsides to the exhibit animals. First of all, as I told you, they breed like crazy. So whenever I play in sandbox mode and I want to focus more on building, not managing my zoo, I just put all of those animals on the contraceptives because I don't want to deal with all the mess of them breeding like crazy. Those enclosures or those exhibits, they become overcrowded very, very quickly because when they have babies, the babies right away are able to breed again, so they are breeding really, really fast, and it's very hard to be able to manage all that. Especially the insects that we are adding today, they are crazy because, for example, iguanas and so on, they are not they only have one baby, I think, at the time, so it is okay. But the insects have 20 or something at one time, and then their babies are still breeding, so it gets a bit messy after some time. So it is good that we actually have those contraceptives, because thanks to this, playing with exhibits is a bit, easier if you don't want to, earn additional money from selling those animals, because it is like really, really easy with them to earn. And the other thing that I don't like about the exhibits is their size. I think that they are simply too large. They are like way off the scale of the game. They are supposed to be, 4 meters by 4 meters by 4 meters, and this is just large. This is just enormous for, something like this. Especially with insects inside, those things are too large. It is very, very hard to spot one in there because it is so large. You don't have like so large exhibits for insects in the zoos in real life. You have, small boxes, and they're still fine because they don't need much space, because they're simply very, very tiny. I hope that in the future we'll get, different sizes of exhibits. It would be just perfect. It is. I know that it is discussed a lot in the community that we should have, bigger ones, smaller ones. It would be just perfect, especially, those smaller ones for the insects. I think that it is a must, because it is looking a bit weird to have something so large for such a small little beetle. You could have like a whole community of different insects in one of those. I think that some of the back houses, they have it so that, they have different species, and the whole community of different insects living in one large enclosure. But here it is totally unnecessary to have them that large. I know that it is probably easier for the game so that it has 4 meters, because it is just like this default diameter in this game, this 4 meters. We have 4 meters walls, paths, and so on. So maybe it is because how the game works, but I would really love to see it changed. I would also be able to get bigger ones for some of the reptiles, because, for example, the lesser Antillean iguana and the green iguana, they seem to be a bit cramped in there. It is like okay size for them, I think, but it would be like even better if they got something bigger, because sometimes those animals have huge like tanks in zoos, so they could climb in there, they can swim, and those have just so like tiny space in there. So I would love for them to have something more diverse, so we can sometimes put bigger one in the zoo, sometimes smaller, and I think that it would be just so cool. While I was talking, I already did the stairs leading to our building. I knew that I wanted to have those stairs because it is very typical for buildings like this. So this whole building, the inside is on the elevated path, obviously, because it was very hard to do it with the terrain. So I decided to do it with an elevated path so that we could have those stairs leading to our building. And right now I started to work on an interior. Firstly, I outlined all the walls with the plaster pieces, so it's all nice and tidy, and we have, white walls in there. I also did the flooring from the breeze blocks that we have in game. And now I am focusing on something special. I wanted to have actually more enclosures or more exhibits in this house. So I decided to add ants. I used for it the custom billboards, obviously. I saw many players doing it with, for example, aquariums. So today I decided to add some insects of our own, and those are the ants. So I did it as they're often displayed in zoos and those exhibitions. It is just, the underground part, so you can see all the tunnels that those ants have built from themselves. You can see all those different chambers, the queen, and so on. So it is really, really interesting. I also came up with an idea of using the glass barrier as a actual glass, for this tank, because the glass barrier is more see-through than the glass pieces that we have in game, so you can see better through it. It is just like a normal glass, it's not so thick. So yeah, this is something that I came up with, and I think it looks really cool. I also added my own custom billboards, and I outlined all those tanks with wood that is in matching colors, but it gives this feeling, or this look of frames on the walls, which I really like. I was inspired by the insect house in the Houston Zoo. They also have those tanks like inside those black walls with wooden black frames, and I think that it looks very cool, very modern, and I love like the transition between our classical architecture outside and this touch of something modern in the inside. As you could see, I also created something cool for butterflies. I used custom billboards to like make a display of butterflies that we often have in insect houses and zoos. Those are those preserved dead ones that are pinned to the board, and you can read the name and so on. So it is really looking cool. And right now you can see how I will be doing all the exhibits inside of this insect house. I just came up with an idea that it would look so much better that we have like those small windows to the exhibits. It actually looks like we have more of those, so it is really fun, because it's not like 12 windows and you have 12 exhibits. It looks like we have really a lot of them, and I really enjoy it. So I will only show you the work on one of those. I won't include the footage of working on 12 of them, because it was just a lot of work with lining all the plaster pieces, with outlining the windows with the wood, so it looks nice. But yeah, you will be able for sure to figure out how I did it for the rest of them. The guests are still obviously able to watch the animals. When you cover the exhibit and you connect the path, they they ignore completely the some pieces that are covering it, so it is completely fine. But I really like how it turned out in the end, how it is looking. I also added those info signs for all of them, just as some additional pieces on those walls. It was just so much work to do it. Like, I hated myself for a bit for choosing those small planks, because I had to be very precise with them, and we had 30 or 40 of those windows inside of our exhibits, so I had to outline all of those windows with those small planks, and it was a lot of work, but in the end I really like how it is looking. As you can see, in the middle of our house, I added a planter. I made the planter out of the fountain that we have in those limestone pieces. I really like this fountain, and I thought that it would be a perfect planter. So I just pulled the mulch pieces inside of it, and I added plants. As I told you, the tropical plants. We can actually finally add them in here, and I really like it. I wanted this building to be very green inside, so you have this feeling of, stepping a bit into this natural world of insects. So those both sides, those both wings of our building, where we have insects on one side and spiders on the other side, they will also be very green as well. We have some of those, panels of the plants that were added with the aquatic pack on the walls, but we'll also have, I'm for the first time using those murals that were also added with aquatic pack, with those ones with the jungle on them. And I also really like how it is looking in here. Maybe it's like a bit over saturated for me, but I like the contrast with the, you know, those very dark walls, and you can actually feel like, you know, being somewhere tropical while stepping inside of it. I also added some info signs in there, you know, different kinds of insects and spiders that are around the world. You'll be able to see it all in the cinematic shots, so definitely stay till the end. Before this video is finished, let me just give you some quick fun facts about the Scarab Beetle that was introduced with an Africa pack. So the males of the Scarab Beetles have prominent horns, which are used for fight and protection of food, and also mating partner. They also use those horns for digging the holes in the ground. They also have broad and flat front legs that help them dig. The forelegs and hind legs are long and thin. Most of scarab beetles are nocturnal creatures. Scarab beetles collect and eat dung of various grazing animals and elephants. They create those balls of dung that can be easy transport towards their distant underground shelters. Australians actually import scarab beetles to remove the excess dung from their farms. The females of scarab beetles lay hundreds of thousand eggs in the dung balls, which serves as a source of food for the babies. Okay, so those were our fun facts, and let me just quickly tell you what we'll be working on at the end of this video. So we will add a staff area so that I could put some, you know, skipper hats and a staff building for the keepers, so that they don't have to like go very far just to enter this building, because they will have a lot of work in here because there are many exhibits here. So I wanted to give them some space to work. And at the end we'll work a bit also on the outside part of this building. We'll add some plants, this hedges, very classical for this kind of buildings. So yeah, this is basically today's video. This is all that I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you are enjoying your new Africa pack. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. And subscribe to my channel, it really means a lot to me. We will be expanding our Elm Hill City Zoo as soon as I am back from my vacation, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Also, comment down below if you liked our insect house, and tell me which is your favorite exhibit animal in the game. For me, it is right now a giant Malaysian leaf insect. Thank you guys for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!